Well, many of us wonder this. Is an olive a fruit or a vegetable? Well, it's actually a fruit. Did you know that?
It has a pit.
It has a pit. With information on the varieties of olives, the flavors, and suggested dishes, our chef, Devan Rajkumar. Thanks, Frankie. Hey, I didn't know that.
You didn't know it was a fruit?
I learn a little something new every single time I do this show.
That's the beautiful thing about food, is that every single day I learn about it. I think that's why I'm so engulfed in, is that every single day I learn something.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so olives, you know, there are probably two varieties that most of us are familiar with, but there are so many more out there that you can teach us about. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Definitely. There's so many ones out there. And what I want to start by saying is that, do you know the difference between, for example, a green and a black, or a green and a purple olive is?
Only the taste. That's the only difference I know.
If you left all olives on the tree to fully ripen, they would all go black. So the fact that it gets its color, it's when it's picked from the tree. I hear some oohs and some ahs, yeah.
Okay, so it's just different stages.
It's just different stages that you pick it from the tree. The other thing too is an olive aficionado will tell you it's all about the cure in the olive. What that means is if I go and I take an olive from the tree and I go to eat it, it'll be excruciatingly bitter and hard. You wouldn't be able to eat it or process it. So it's all about taking that and putting it into a brine. Either, you know, you're rinsing it in water, or you're doing a salt water brine, which chefs use a lot these days. Or you can do like the sun-dried method. There's one rare method where you leave it on the branch to sun-dry and ripen. But this is a Moroccan olive, and you can see how it's all shriveled up. It's because it was allowed to dry in the sun. So this method is you'd soak it in salt for about a month, and then you'd rinse it, and then you let it dry. And then you get this beautiful texture, and these are my favorite olives. Darker olives are my favorite. I was speaking with someone earlier who just loves green olives, but I'm all about the dark olives.
The taste, would you say the taste is more intense then? The darker the olive? Is it more intense? Is it more salty? What is it?
It's harder to say because there's so many different varieties out there. It depends how you treat that olive and where that olive is coming from. So it's hard to say whether or not it's going to be salty or more acidic. It all depends on how you're treating it. But here I have some of my favorite olives. We have the Manzanilla olive here, which is super popular. This one comes from?
I don't know.
Comes from
Italy.
Spain.
Spain. That was going to be my next choice.
And that's another thing to mention too, is that where do olives come from? They're most popular in the Mediterranean.
Greece. I always think of Greece when I think olives.
Greece is very popular, but they were brought later on to the Americas. They've been harvesting olives for about 7,000 years now, so for quite some time. But you know, Tunisia, Egypt, you can get them in Saudi, all over the place. Do you know what kind of olive this is?
That looks like a cherry tomato.
That's a tomato. Yeah, that was a joke. That was just But other favorites that I have, like at my restaurant, I have a Greek-inspired bowl, which we'll talk about later, but that's using a Kalamata olive, and that comes from Kalamata, Greece. But with different olives that you have, there's different ways of treating them after they are cured. So for example, Sicilian ones here, you see that there's some pearl white onions in there. There's some chili flakes. There's also some celery in this one. Over here we have the pickled carrot version, which I really like as well, because I love the pickled vegetables.
Very good.
And while I'm talking about olives, I just want to make a quick note about olive oil. You know, olive oil can be a completely different segment. In fact, I think olive oil is so vast it could be an entire show. One thing to mention though is that when you're buying olive oil, you want to I want to mention just a few quick things, is that you want to get it in a stainless steel container and something that light will not penetrate.
A stainless steel container? Does anybody do that?
Yeah, larger stainless steel containers are very important. Also, you want to make sure that they're packed with nitrogen. Nitrogen's going to help it from oxidizing. Because you know there was all
this is the highest end of the high-end olive oils.
This is DOP Umbria. Yeah, this stuff you want to drink straight from the bottle.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
This is the good stuff. Also, another tip with olive oil is buy smaller amounts. Don't buy larger amounts that are going to go bad. Because you know all these scandals with olive oil these days. Just know where you're getting it from.
Okay, and try and get the best olive oil is what we always talk about on this show, because this is the stuff you should be just using on its own. This isn't like to heat up and cook with.
What happens when you heat it up?
It loses its nutrients.
You damage all those. you damage all
How
those.
did I do on the quiz, Dev?
You damage all those beautiful properties and characteristics that you spent those extra dollars for.
So
by
there's
heating
no
it up, you
point in
damage
using
it.
this as a heating oil. You're just using it straight up on top of your salads or your dishes.
Vinaigrettes, risottos, dipping bread into, etc., etc.
Got it.
Now, olives come in all different shapes and sizes. Other ones that I want to talk about are the Sarig Nola.
Yeah.
which is also very, very popular.
They look very ripe.
This one is
Or very not ripe.
very unripe. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you squeeze it, it still has some give to it, and it should. An olive should be firm,
Yeah.
but not too tender. Obviously, if you're getting the sun-dried version, it's going to be a lot softer. You can see that they're already pitted and they're almost breaking apart.
Yeah.
But other than that, you want them to be firm. You can get the blue cheese version. I've dehydrated olives, which we're going to talk about later in the show.
That's nice.
But there's so many different varieties that you can get.
Where do you use, like, what would you use that in?
So the Sarig Nola is
recipe?
that's a good question, is very popular for a table olive.
Okay.
However, if you want to use this in a dish, it's kind of lighter in flavor. I'd recommend using a Kalamata, which is here.
Yeah.
I also have the chili flake Kalamata as well, which is just, I ran some chili flakes through them.
Okay.
These would be amazing to cook with. These are incredible. These are Nicoise olives, and there's a popular salad named after them.
Yeah.
So these are from Nice or French Riviera.
Yes.
And these are beautiful. These ones I would cook with. They go well in that salad,
Okay.
but amazing with white fish.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
so if you want to do a dish with like Nicoise olives,
Yeah.
and capers and sun-dried tomatoes and anchovy and all that good fun
Yes.
stuff, like very, very Italian, very Sicilian.
Oh, yes. But when you get to sort of that French Riviera, you do find a lot of the dishes that you would expect to find in Italy. Because
Exactly.
they're very, very close. Like,
Exactly.
pizza is amazing on the French Riviera.
Yep.
And people wouldn't think that the pizza would be amazing
Speaking
there.
of pizza, I'd love
Yeah.
to take these blue cheese ones and slice them over pizza as well. I think that'd
Is that
be
what you
really
like to do?
good.
I've never tried one of those blue cheese ones. So that's stuffed with blue cheese?
They're stuffed with blue cheese, and I'm going to leave them all for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you
will
can have
try
them
a few. What is your absolute favorite on this entire table?
It's kind of
Come
like,
on, pick
I
one.
know, it has to be, it's a darker one.
Yeah.
But it has to be Nicoise or Kalamata. The reason why I like
Alright.
Kalamata is I love the beautiful shape. It looks almost like an almond,
Yeah.
and they're more tender, they're softer, but I use them in a lot of my dishes, and it's
Okay.
kind of the foundation for one of the main dishes at my restaurant. But I'd probably have to go with Kalamata. And Kalamata is a town in Greece, in
Yes.
southern Greece.
All right.
And that has to be my favorite out of all of them.
If anything, you've taught us to think a little bit outside the box when it comes to your olives. Go try something new when you go to the grocery store now that you know all about it. Thanks, Chef.
Pleasure.